place for folks to come in, pick those things up, take them to that. So that, I think, do something. left a piece of
Sorry. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Does that sound okay, Margaret?
No,
It's-
the only thing I'm concerned about is that person that moves in the last week of the month, or the last few days of the month, having to pay for the whole month.
He wouldn't pay for anything then.
No,
They wouldn't pay for, if they move in during a month, they don't pay for that month
Oh.
or
okay.
preceding for the quarter. So if you move in partway through month number 2 of the quarter, you will only pay a third of your bill. You only pay for that last month.
For the last month.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. That makes more.
And
sense.
I just think that it will be easier to set up in the system and
So
track.
in the case of these people were,
They would pay zero.
their pays.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You see, you think that's all right, Steve?
Yeah, Sharon, I think that going down to a daily prorated number is difficult.
Just dividing it out by number of days.
Well, yeah, we can look at it, but I think for ease of the person and, like these folks, they purchased it on the 28th, but they didn't move in until January.
So if we ban on April 1.
April's free. I think it's just easier to track, and we're gonna have, like I said, 30 some odd of these this year. We don't have to make a final decision
Mhm.
today. Let's come up with some language. We'll do an amendment or a modification of the reg.
Right.
And
So is this, this abatement we just signed?
this
Is that a
abatement
full?
that's a full quarter,
Okay.
yeah.
because they didn't move in until,
because they didn't move in until the
They're late
next
December.
quarter.
well, they did not, so.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, no, I think that sounds good.
Okay,
Bob, Margaret, you okay with that?
Yep.
All right. Water and sewer letters. Or one letter.
Yeah.
Per
so
customer.
I just wanted to make sure that we were on the record. We're gonna be sending these notices out. I believe we put a copy in the packets for you. These are the notices that are going out for the lead and copper tests. All of the samples have been taken. I believe they went to Concord yesterday. Or they got picked up this morning, one of the two. So all of the testing has been completed. And we'll just wait for the results to come back, usually week or two, Jim. So these are gonna be in the mail on Friday. And I think it's up to you whether we talk about it at the bond and budget hearing or whether we just wait and do it at the community meeting next Tuesday. However you want me to do it, I'm fine. with it.
I'd say something tonight. What the heck? Because everybody doesn't listen
Right.
to the community meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, and you might want to.
I do it both.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Just to make
That's
sure
fine.
we get
I'll work
preempt
it
some
in.
questions.
I'll work it in tonight, right at the beginning and just get it out.
Good.
All right,
Good. Good. Okay, the ski tour
ski touring.
official.
This is the first
Solicitation.
photograph that we've ever had of an application. We'll get a hard copy of the application later.
Right, I
but,
saw it in the packet. Yeah.
But if you want to review it, Dave can explain his conversations with Steve.
About it, Dave?
By the sounds of it, these applications were just provides to.
Mhm.
Truck.
Yeah.
Type operations.
A table setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like all the others.
Mhm.
I didn't see an issue with it as it proposed.
And the vendor is sharing proceeds with the Ray Center because it's a fundraiser as well.
Right,
So I just ask that if you approve it, that you waive the fee because it is a fundraiser. And the
So you have
vendor
no
is
problem with
nice
it?
enough.
any discussion?
Well, I'll take a look at it. Make sure that it's. Where they're gonna say it's supposed to be and stuff. And discussed on the. Traffic.
So it's on Craig's property. So he's okay with it.
Okay, So I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept the off-premise solicitation permit application from Beans and Greens Farm to set up a table with food such as sandwiches, chili, etc. And drinks like hot cocoa. Just pending David's final review that everything is it's good to go with regard to the setup.
And waive the fee.
Oh, yes, thank you. And to waive the fee for said application. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Okay,
Right.
That was the application. So that's good.
I'm sorry? Yep. Okay. Great. Old business, but I see Steve's here. Do we want to move right to?
Sure. Well,
We don't
you
have
want to
department
just
head
have the
reviews.
department head.
Oh, that's right.
With
They aren't on the
update.
agenda. I'm sorry, you
they're
can't
all sitting here
They're all
looking at us,
sitting
but they're
here.
not
on the agenda.
We didn't.
Well,
speak-
they have to be here in a few
Right.
minutes anyway.
Right.
You Guys gonna get me pizza right after this?
It's actually going to get us.
Oh, us.
Who's-
Is that us?
Yeah, this guy. We didn't get.
I don't think Pizza in Town is open.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
My lunch.
All right, let's go. We gotta-
All right, yeah, so let's do department heads. David, why don't you go ahead and start it off?
Not too much to report. Had a pretty good, we did a Facebook post for our department training last week. Which was actually very good training. All the members attended. We're gonna be using our monthly trainings based off of this initial training. And then go from that, basically, so all the different things that you potentially could be like first 30 minutes of fire. And so there's a lot of different skills and practice there and different expanding on that throughout the year. Colby and Zach started the fire academy. In Bristol. So these guys are down there next week. Some Sundays. Other than that, been pretty busy on the weekends, managed to make it through the week, the really cold. Both busy weekend, chased a bunch of broken pipes on Sunday. Back up and running.
Where was that?
Where wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much town square, so yeah, based on it.
I've seen Surf Pro around town.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of properties, and that's, when you see those extreme temperatures, usually. Sometimes we don't see it in spring. But since this week's been kind of warm, it's been hot out, so. Usually, ice arena is one of them. Either go, we shut down the systems and then, and then either put a fire watch in place if they have occupancy. Doesn't affect the fire alarm system, which is fire protection.
So all of these with sprinkler system. Interesting.
Ladder truck was in my neighborhood Sunday.
Yep.
Gave-
Oh, helping out
scared.
somebody?
Yeah, checking fire.
Chimney fire
Mhm.
across the street.
We didn't actually deploy this to the treasures. Ross, they were in there, but,
Yes. Another busy weekend coming up, I imagine.
yeah, we're getting ready for.
Yeah, that's coming up on us, isn't it? What's the? Is it
Yeah, the week after next.
Yeah.
right? The 20th is the President's Day, right? Or so it's that weekend before in the full week, right? And full week in the middle. So. All right, so something like the 18th or 17th. Okay,
Just a reminder, the Winter Games, Special Olympics will be here for the Winter Games this year. Just right at the end of the Hampshire week, they are planning on opening ceremonies that Sunday.
wow, so 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
here pretty much Monday and Tuesday,
Uh-huh,
will be participating.
great.
I'm sure they'll probably reach out. Probably, so. They were calling me today.
Very nice, good. Yeah, I notice, there's some of those guys are still working on that construction. And the lucky ones are doing the inside work now, but there's some people still up there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I just did the first rough inspection over at, Golden Heights, it's at the road, it's officially, you made it official, but officially behind the line.
Mhm.
Full hill day, and all those addresses, today, actually. Did one first inspections.
Great.
I do have a meeting with the builder next week in regards to. process.
Yeah, that's still a potential issue.
Dave, I noticed on those homes, the ones on the end have a door that goes nowhere. Is there gonna be a little porch out there or something?
Yes, there is it's in the plan, it's supposed to be like a sunroom, sun porch type of thing.
Between the buildings?
Well, I think there's an external, it's supposed to be for either external standard, but in between the buildings, I don't think there's.
It's just it's a very narrow,
There's a door there, though.
There's a.
there's a door.
There's a door on both ends of the
Yep.
building. There's a door there.
Yeah, and on
Yeah.
the plans, it says proposed porch or sunroom.
Yeah.
I don't know how-
In
Something-
between the buildings, that's gonna work, but probably fire egress, right, for that?
Well, that's what I was figuring, but
for
I
that,
hadn't seen
unit?
any construction going on next to the door and I thought, what are they gonna do?
Yeah,
Jump out of
Yeah.
the snow, you know?
If I think, they're broken at this, but if I look at the plans. Well, that would be actually. Good to be fire protection plans. Okay, so.
Hmm.
That's in the 60. We're gonna- So, I haven't got that far yet. I second.
Mhm. And all other construction is going merrily along, no issues.
Did a final inspection at the third unit of the. Third building, if you.
Right,
For final inspection. See. It's fine. It's good there, so that one should be. Zipped up, by tomorrow.
yeah, I've noticed in those, in those buildings, it looks like they're building an old fashioned cellar. Egress, I mean, with the,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got bulkheads. They got
Yeah.
Bulkheads in it, so the folks.
you have a
opted-
coal,
opted to finish some of them.
yeah,
Some. The one I looked at, Chris has been doing most of those times, this is actually the first one. I
mhm,
had an opportunity. It was unfinished. But yeah, it was just like.
yeah. Big doors open up and down the stairs. Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Brooke.
Well, yesterday we had a successful search shoe night.
Excellent.
This weekend we had a family formal dance plan here in the gym and there was no sign up, so we decided to cancel it, switch gears and we can find out and now we several kids signed up for that space. So we can, so, the PTO contacted me today, they would like to bring back the soup event before our meeting.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to figure out how to do that, because really the only space we have is the lobby with our kids, for our school, being the cafeteria, spaces. So anyway, we're gonna figure out
Mhm.
logistics to make sure that happens.
Great.
We had did some reviews for personnel this week. and, Looking forward to the vacation weeks. It's very good.
Were you busy when we had the frigid cold?
We were, but we were prepared. Because of that cold, we canceled the guided hike that we had planned. And we had lots of people here, the academy front there, some people were here. And we decided it's very good. It's nice that it's weekend.
Anything for recreation? Jim, what's going on in Public Works?
Well, things are fairly quiet. I was away for a little bit and the guys took good care of the place. They did really well. Just some since storms.
Yeah, a couple more coming, I think, in the next few days.
Several warming trend. I mean, it's bad.
The roads are getting a little,
Yeah.
That's the,
It's gonna,
It's more than a little.
got it back in my mind, you know, I know some other communities.
they've already posted.
posted,
Yeah.
roads,
Really? Wow. Because it's been
Yeah.
unusually warm, quote unquote warm.
Yeah, it was, you know, I usually do a couple of drive rounds, you know, in town. When we hit every road. And before I left, I did, and when I came back, it's the first thing I did, and I'm. What happened?
Yeah.
You know, and it happened, you know, in the space of. I think, 10
Yeah.
minutes.
did I notice today that somebody plowed in the incinerator parking area? I drove down the mountain road and it looked like that maybe had been plowed out.
Yeah, I know. I believe,
I think,
I think
We didn't do it, did we?
we usually do.
Okay.
When it gets built up.
Just to the gate or,
it's good. I like to walk my dog there.
yeah,
That's been requested for years.
Yeah. Well, especially busy weeks. I don't like to go on cross-country trails, so.
Project is going well. They,
Big more activity there.
tomorrow, hopefully by the end of the day, we'll have well two connected to the
Mhm.
treatment building. And we're just waiting for the state to, they'll be taking water tests at well 3. And if we pass those, then they can connect
So we're very close.
3, so we're very close.
great,
Very close.
great. Right. The only major construction is the
Radio.
demo of the,
The what?
The-
Demo of
the
the
well
water
one.
building 1
Right.
and
Yeah, that
well,
could have got held up because of the power. We had to.
the co-op had to
And
disconnect.
then do a work on the co-op and then
Ah.
the power and the building. And of course, the co-op had those 2 storms and half the state.
down on the priority list, right?
We were way down.
Yeah, if you've been on it.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
But everything else,
everything else, the only
Right.
thing that'll be outstanding,
Will be the-
hopefully by the end of the month, will be the
generate,
generator.
The generator.
So we will,
Mhm.
by hopefully again, the end of the month, first week of March, we'll issue substantial completion for the project and
final payment.
it'll be just the generator will withhold payment for everything should be done.
Okay. Okay, nothing else? Margaret, Bob, anything further for Jim? Chief, what's happening in the police world?
Off about a hitch, we expect maybe some traffic issues, we'll get Zach and perfectly no issues. Didn't have as many, I don't think it's quite 100, but the first I see 48 minutes. Met with the academy, I think last week, with all the staff and students. Just had a good conversation of living in Waterville, being kids, what's expected and what's not expected. Fantastic turnout, school's great.
Mhm.
That was Steve yesterday, I'm gonna butcher the name according to his 6-year-old, I think it is. Yeah, I call it Scuff Jory, but I've been reminded it's Ski Jory. So we think we've got parking figured out, a lot of detail officer that night, 4 hours. So we're parking on the left-hand side, nothing on the right goes now, which we've agreed to.
Mhm.
So it shouldn't be parts issues, sometimes with signs.
It's on the 19th, right?
Yeah.
19th.
Drake's Brook, just to give you guys a heads up, I think it's Forest Service responsible for plowing it.
Mhm.
They don't, they're not doing a
Right.
very good job anymore. We had some parking issues with co-op, it's taken a very long time, I got the right person. And you'll see if you go there now, there's no parking. space.
Right, you mean the parking,
Very
right,
obvious.
right.
Uh,
So that's why they're parking on 49, I imagine.
Fortunately, that's gonna be an issue if you see it, because they, one day they call us one post. You're no parking sign in the trees, just doesn't cut it, so we need something authorized, you know, it goes, they did it, so.
Good.
Fortunately, that, yeah. And those don't get ticketed, so it's on your part, so.
Right, it's discretion.
But I think we're one of the second line processes. They're very. Far in us.
How are things working out at tubing?
Two things. I'm gonna be honest. Parking, I think. Given the weekend to be a complete nightmare, but we're so busy in so many other areas. So I think that's our issue with the guys. They were great and they used their thinking caps one weekend when it wasn't major, so on house fast. Put up with parking.
Yeah, they're still there from what I see. So,
And Craig said, you know, it was okay. You know, he understood why they did what they did.
Yeah, it was, and they kind of just use judgment and I'm okay with that because it was, and they keep coming to me and saying one car parks and then everybody
Sure.
else does. And I said, I know that, but. To me, of course, I'm in the accountability business. We have 22 signs that struggle with. So. Yeah, Signs a sign, just because you didn't read it doesn't mean it's.
applies, right?
Apply.
But unfortunately, that's the last on the priority list on busy weekends. You're seeing. that there's-
Good. Okay, let's go to the brains of the operation, administration. Without administration, nothing happens, right?
Well, no one gets paid and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
So,
Oh. They've been a big focus of mine, that's. Getting. Complete and use it to be fully files. Working on a few grant opportunities, the wastewater treatment. Draw from a couple of grants for that project in the back. The cost of $100,000 planning grant already, and we're $230,000. Which is going to ultimately lead it to the CWSRF. So trying to wrap my head around working with DES on how to best facilitate that. They've been great to work with. They ask very few questions, they respond to when they pick up one problem, they answer. So I'm very confident that we have a good relationship with them, which is great. And then the other grant is the HOP grant, the housing planning grant,
Mhm.
that I've been working with Wendy, the New Hampshire Housing Authority. Trying to just kind of steer that in a good production direction.
Right.
So we can milestone for our contract.
Right.
When we want to.
Right, and pick what we actually want to pursue.
Yeah.
Right, it's pretty open-ended, I think.
and that conversation starts tomorrow
Right,
with the planning.
Yeah, tomorrow
Good.
morning, they'll review a couple of contracts that we have, one from Tara, one from Kayla Lawrence. North Country Council, and then go over what their scope of work is like.
And then we've got CISA grant discussion on Friday.
It's another one, we have,
which one is that?
That's the $100,000 grant for IT.
Right.
IT.
Right, thank you.
I spoke to the DES on Friday of last week, about just where we're at in that grant approval process. She spoke very positively, but I think we have to find some things. They wrote lots, so hopefully we'll hear this week, or next week.
All right, good. Mark, anything left on
Nope, I'm good.
department head reports?
Nope, I'm good.
Good with everything?
Everything's going along. Yeah.
All righty, why don't we have, I think,
Steve, come in.
Steve come in now before we get into the budget
Bring a
slide
chair,
review.
bring a chair.
Yes, bring a chair.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah.
And you guys, if you're not involved in ski juring, you can go.
You will be involved. Yeah.
You will be.
So,
Thank you for
Yes, sir.
all of the continued support. I guess I'm kind of here, wearing many hats, right? One, as a board member of the race center. Two, as the party planner for the ski juring event. That we're really excited to be hosting here for the second year in a row. We've had a tremendous amount of support, whether it's from Visit Waterville, the resort itself, the Waterville Foundation, Community Car down in Plymouth, Holy Boy Distillery, Meredith Village Savings Bank. Make sure I touch them all, right? Northway as well, so Northway and Meredith Village, and then my two companies, which is Get Schwendy and Schwendy Beverage Company. So collectively, we have come up with nearly $5,000. Last year's event was mostly funded through Get Schwendy, whether that was the prizes or just the cost to host the event. So I'm thrilled this year. I'm really hoping that with that money, we can turn some monetary for the future of the race center, right? So that's why I'm kind of here wearing both hats. I know that the board has, we've been working pretty hard as to figure out what direction, where we look like we're going to be going next year. I'm quite confident with the budget that I put together about 10, 14 days ago, that will take us from, as we stand right now, negative $41,000 to a positive $20,000, right? I've tested it, I've tried it. It's really switching minimal.
what's the time period?
It's all through next year, right? So our budget was projecting next year to be a loss of $41,000. We have 6 stimulus. We'll see what we can do, right? No pressure, no pressure's off.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can go from 6 to 7 by the end of this meeting. But again, no pressure. Maverick, I'll tell Maverick to stop correcting you. Okay, we'll tell Maverick to stop correcting you. But you know, I'm quite confident, right? I would like to have a little bit of insurance. We've had a discussion with the board back and forth. What is the number that we need, what we need to do? Yeah, I wasn't anticipating to get the support that we have received. It's really actually pretty cool. Like, I walked into town and people are like, really pumped. You know, I see it on social media. It has been something. I moved up here to live a different lifestyle than chasing, you know, everything. I think I'm here. I tried more. I run around. I am doing more here now. Just this morning, I was managing the Sweeney Hut down in Franklin, being property manager. I just flew back from Conway because I had to get shirts for breast cancer. Someone asked us to make some shirts for breast cancer, which is this weekend, right? So part of me is very proud because we're so involved with the town. But I think that I'm pretty confident that we can make the race center work next year. Right?
Do you think we can modify the ask for town meeting? Or do you want to leave
And the
it
method.
as the backstop,
I am
or what do you want?
100% open. I would like to lower it because I think we have a better chance of getting a yay. I've had a lot of discussion. I've been in the valley for 35 years. I know quite a few people. I've talked to many of the folks that have been here longer than I, and they can't believe we're asking for a number.
You're talking about the separate warrant article.
Yeah, the
The
separate
Right,
warrant.
we're gonna keep the 25K,
Right. Keep the 25.
5K in the operating budget as a stipend. And now how much is the warrant? We settled at
46 is-
46,
Yeah,
right?
the budget that we have is 46.
And
You know what I think would
Yeah.
be a really good strategy would be for you to make an amendment to that warrant article. Make an amendment
Down.
in front of town meeting and explain to them what you've done to bring that number down.
So ski is gonna be really a big, that's gonna be our big. I put in when I talk about this 20,000 people from 47, my numbers got us to +20. I did $6,000 of fundraising for the preschool. Right now, we're already at 6,000, right? So I'm already above. Plus that, if I sell a t-shirt, if I don't sell a beer, if I don't, get more sponsorships. I'm continuing to knock on people's door. Yesterday, I got a pair of skis donated to me from Black Crow. With all the reps up there, I just want to kind of start knocking on people's tents and saying, here's what I'm doing, would you be interested? Would you gonna do a 50-50? I think that we could probably see numbers closer to $7,000, right, for the schedule, which will lower the number as well as target. And then also changing the way in which we bill for the preschool. Instead of it being 83, $800, and then we can opt in for the after school. It's an 8 to 5 program, and we charge $1,000, right? And that is what everyone's doing outside of the valley. That's what we were doing at Heaven's Little Angels, where I was prior to preschool starting. That's what they were doing back in Reading, Massachusetts, where I was. We're open for these hours. You choose to put your child earlier.
So how'd you make a $60,000 swing?
Yes, just changing the way we will see a change in the payroll, right? Right now, for every dollar we bring in, we're spending 2 more payrolls. Payroll has to change. It has to change. There's no way around it. I budgeted at 10 students, like $10,000
Instead of 6,
instead of
that's big.
Right.
Oh.
So again, adding extra students, we are licensed for 12. We're operating 50%. So, 4 extra students, $1,000 a month, it's $4,000. That's up really quickly, and you don't.
Yeah, but what's the reality of that though?
Well, I think the reality is quite plausible, right? There are many preschools out of the valley with waiting lists. Our best, I won't call it competition, but our best subset would be Little Antlers in Plymouth. Little Antlers in Plymouth, they took financing based on need. So the government lent them money, and 51% of their students have to be need-based. I'm friends with the director, and the director and I have had many conversations this summer, and they're running numbers actually to see what the penalties and the fines would be to switch it and take full pay. There's a lot of admin work that goes into behind the scenes. Yeah, it's great to get that guaranteed check for the need base, but they have to hit certain thresholds. They have to make sure they're filling out paperwork. So there's a lot of that goes on with that. So I've actually offered to take the director out for drinks and try to buy her waiting-list, right? Essentially. I don't think we're going to get people from Plymouth. But I think that there's a possibility that we could get 2 from Canton. There's a possibility that we could get 2 from Thornton. And there's 4.
Is there a possibility of running the rec bus down there to pick them up in the morning?
Well,
I think the 2 changes you've already made in my situation, I think I paid $40 a day, so if you're $50 a day, that's not, and my daycare is 8 to 4:30 or something. I have heard some about the closing early is an issue with parents that work till 4 to 5. So I just have an at-home daycare with my 4-year-old now, so $50 a day, I don't think it's crazy numbers, I'm paying 40.
Right.
And I know the wait list is massive for handlers.
Yes, right. And so something also, that I've been thinking since we spoke yesterday. You are eligible for a 50% stipend through the resort, right? I mean. We spoke.
Workers in the
Margaret, you and I spoke 2020 Thanksgiving, I think we spoke Thanksgiving Day of 2020 about preschool, you and I was, you know. And if we thought if it was possible to actually make that happen, right? So in that 1 year, the resort stepped up and said, we'll give you a $10,000. It doesn't necessarily help us with any students, right?
Right.
10 students, 12 students, they're just covering that. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get better employees, right? Whether it's in the staff, whether it's down here in town.
So the mountains money goes to the support. What the parents would be paying, not
Not
to
to-
the race center.
Right,
Subs-
right. It's subsidy,
It's
but
paid-
it may allow people who wouldn't
Yeah.
be signing up to sign up. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that'd be
And
good.
so, You know, again, going back to 2021, the op-ed that came out, right, if you're familiar with it, there was an op-ed. Anything that's posted on News News obviously generates a lot of, back and forth. And much of the support was from people whose children are older, probably closer to my age, right? Had Waterville had preschool back in the day, they might have moved to Waterville. And taken advantage of that. So I think right now for me, I'm proud of where we are with preschool. But in 20 years, I want to come back and I want to see the preschool. I want to see preschool still existing.
So does the $60,000 swing include the 41 from the town?
So
Okay.
But we can put caveats. I'm just wondering if we want to.
Put caveats on it too.
I
right?
wanna, do we, it's really late in the game, but do you, instead of amending it down? Because if you talk about that $60,000 swing, everyone's gonna go, okay, everything's taken care of. There is
Right.
no issue, it should be zero. But if you want a backstop, you could change the warrant article now to a lower number and have some sort of trigger that, after a public hearing or whatever it is, you can write that into the warrant article.
You can change the warrant article now.
As long as we're going down, I'm comfortable changing. I wouldn't add anything to it. But, and especially if you want to say something, maybe not the exact number tonight, but just say we're continuing to work on it, and it may be a lower number by the time we get to the posted warrant.
I'd
And
like
to
to
town
do the
meeting.
procedure and really see, what I.
That's what I was
Okay.
thinking.
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, well then amend it and it's kind of a crapshoot, I think, if I'd be careful about how you present the big swing. But maybe we can figure out language that the amendment could say. That would put a backstop, make it a backstop rather than a guaranteed
Right,
payment.
right.
And say that, you gotta come to the selectmen, you gotta show them that the whatever funding source didn't happen. And the selectmen conduct a public hearing and then they have the decision about whether they want to release the money.
Up
I
to
mean,
whatever
up
was
to that.
authorized that time.
Yeah, we did something like that with the Stories of
We
Waterville,
did,
did we not?
Exactly.
Yeah, in which we
Yep.
said, we want to see that you've actually gotten the 50,000
can't-
from other sources
that's
before we start putting any of our money into it. So,
When I started lobbying for the preschool, I was. My goal was to have it self-funded, right? So for me to kind of be here, I'm doing it because I am passionate about preschool. Right? For me, I would go and fight and we would try to get those numbers. Get those numbers one way or another. It's just nice to have a little bit of insurance behind me that in the event that something does happen and we can't get it. We cannot get it. But again, we're talking for students, we're really talking about bringing the expenses to what sustain outside of that. In fact, it almost should be a 3-year here in the valley. Look at the preschool, look at the backyard, and look where we are. We have this full valley. It's right now. So I would be in favor of lowering the number. Open to a discussion. I threw out to the board last night at 30,000. You know, I'm happy to mark every single bill that we get, and we say those are the last bills that we have to spend to keep us afloat.
So just leave it the way it is for tonight and then mention that we're still working on it and we'll see what happens for town meeting and then put it on the warrant the way it is and amend it on the floor,
Only,
but only depending on what happens, and we'll come up with the language so
Right.
that it's a backstop, not a guaranteed payment.
I think that sounds good.
When typically would you know that you're gonna have more students for next year? I don't think people wait till September, so.
No, I think we need to start the S&P, right? We need to start doing some marketing. We need to start getting the word out there. Meeting, we thought about going down and chatting. Some of the pediatrics, right? They're a good place to start. Share.
Do you agree you don't know about it? I don't know about it because I work here. I've never heard scuttlebutt from anybody else
Right.
talking about what are your daycare on.
Well, nobody thinks of driving the 10 miles up.
It's really not that bad.
Last year we had the 10. We had the 10 students. So that was, you know. This year.
Right.
Right.
And you can also market at your events. Potentially, right?
Absolutely, Right, we're starting to push on social media.
Mhm.
We created a insurance cottage on social media, everything that we do for Get Schwendy, we're tagging them, we have. We're getting people to support it. And actually people ask like.
Okay.
Reaching out to your employers, whether through sort of association. The employers around, being able to advertise or offer activities. Let them know that potential employees that there is an option here. I get some support to know what happens.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, because I know a lot of them struggle with, conversations I have with other business owners. There's that makes an issue, just getting to something. Yeah.
You know, and if we can get that number, I'm saying 10, where license was well. You guys can get technically. Yeah, I can get that scholarship, even larger. You know, that's really helps. Staff. Thank you all.
No, thank you for the update.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Steve.
Okay, sounds like a good path forward, whatever the outcome, it's a
Okay.
path forward. All righty, so we want to review, final review of budget slides.
They're locked in now.
Mhm.
They're locked
Yeah,
in.
we've looked at it,
So the only
had
thing,
one question.
the
Go ahead.
biggest question, the biggest change that I probably made today was at the end of all of the slides for the special warrant articles, I have you're gonna see a summary page now. That is going to be, it says.
okay, I'm just looking for the slide.
It's in the town packet. It's in the town packet,
This
and
one
it's
here,
page 10 of the town packet.
gotcha,
So this is the bond
Got it.
packet. That's the town packet, page 10. It's just the total of all of the special warrant articles compared to last year. The net increase is $359,000 more than last year's special warrant articles.
right,
Okay, so, but that's critical because that
Yeah.
goes with the personnel increase costs and the personnel and the debt service
Right.
increases.
right,
It more than covers the $627,000 increase,
right,
those three things. So the rest of the budget is actually a negative, right? It's a decrease for the rest of the budget. It's just those three items make up about an $800,000 difference. Budget
All right,
to budget. So that's probably the biggest change that I've made. So we're gonna just talk through the two, so there's two new packets. There's the handout that's been around town for a while.
right,
And then there's this packet, which is the bond portion of the discussion.
right,
The three projects are in that. And then there's this, which is town operating budget.
Right.
That's the balance of the slides.
okey doke.
Okay.
I had one question. I was having trouble trying to understand. I'm looking for that slide now.
Yep.
It was on the rec
Mhm.
and it had the last two sides. It was the second from the last.
Yeah, those are not part of.
Right, but I
what
was
we're
trying,
presenting.
I was trying to understand one of the lines and I didn't understand it. That's it. Otherwise,
We have copies of these, but I'm not handing them out.
Right.
Unless the question comes.
right.
So you are asking about
Yeah, if you could.
the tax rate impact or the
No, I'm
occupancy?
trying to understand the red line
The
on
red
the
line here.
recreation, right, on the
So-
impact.
That is the Rex. If you take just the excess, the taxes that we raise
Right,
on that, remember the sheet that
yeah,
lists
I
what the
understand. I
difference
remember
is?
the, right,
This is the equivalent tax rate for those years. Okay, that are attributable to that difference. That's all that is. And the reason that it's way up here is that's COVID time.
right,
We didn't have any revenues, so that increase grew. And then,
Okay.
and now it's going down, right?
right,
And even though there's a slight uptick here to 23, it's always that way because we've beaten the budgeted. So that's why it's yellow instead of red, because this is a budgeted number.
Actually,
Right, these are the red are
right.
the.
I remember we had that discussion. I was getting confused. I can't see from here, but.
Yeah.
What, it seemed to me they were percentages.
Didn't we say,
Well, these are actual numbers. These are
Right.
actual pennies, you know,
Yeah, but when that's why, because on the slide I saw. it
this
had
is a
percent.
percentage. Here, the one
It's a
at the
percent.
bottom is a
Can I look at that
percentage.
again? Yeah,
Sure,
thank you.
and the percentage is going down,
yes, the percentage is going down.
Ooh, I can't even read it when I'm close. No, I just think. the
percentage of
copy-
the tax.
Yeah, I get it now.
Percentage of the amount,
of
yes.
tax.
Mhm. The share,
Yeah.
the
Right.
percentage share.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
Like
attributable.
6%.
I see it. Yeah, no, this one had dollar sign. I thought I either didn't see it right or I thought it had percent. That's
The
the bottom one
is
I
percent.
understand is percent. But I guess the draft copy I had, I just,
And like Bob says,
Right.
it's been pretty level, but now it's starting to go down.
Right.
There is a downturn
Right.
over the last couple. of
yeah, no, I
years.
understand the
Yeah.
whole issue.
that's
And that's when we added, right,
Okay, you explained it.
okay, well, that's the first page of that. Yes, I did send,
that.
This one here.
That must be the one I didn't pick up.
No, it's not being passed out.
it's not being passed out, Margaret.
Oh, okay.
This is for
Is this what we,
But that's,
is this what we start with tonight?
we're gonna start with
And
this,
with the bonds.
yeah, and then the town
Yeah.
operating budget.
Hmm.
Great.
I think I emailed it to all of you,
Okay,
or, late this afternoon.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
We have the
So
handouts in
$1,000
case the question
savings
comes up.
Essentially
Yep.
on just looking at those programs.
do you have a couple more copies? Just,
Yeah, yeah, Steve's got them right there.
okay,
Yeah, this is really good. If you participated in all these programs as a taxpayer resident, that's what you would pay. And this is the guest, so there's the difference.
Okay.
You guys gonna be able to get your food before?
No.
Oh, gee, that's too bad.
Just gonna save it.
Oh, is that it? Yeah. Good.
Okay, any other
Too bad.
comments
So sorry.
on the budget slides?
No.
We good, Margaret?
Yeah.
Okay, now town report materials, I guess these would be the two,
That'll be after, we'll just see where we are when it ends. And then we can go through that stuff.
the
Or,
two,
or you mean the dedication and?
yeah,
the-
that you said town report
Yeah.
materials, you're just talking about the dedication and
The
the
dedication,
board
the
report,
memoriam and the memoriam page and
Right,
then the
right,
wording of the warrant articles and voting. So
Okay.
you've got the town, selectmen recommended numbers to plug in there. So we gotta decide whether we're gonna do that tonight or
okay, we'll see how it
sometime
goes,
the rest of the week.
see how it goes tonight, and then decide. All right, item 7, board concerns and directives, anybody have a concern? Or
I
directive?
hope not, please.
But we have a non-public, but I don't think we can,
We're not gonna do it.
we're not gonna be able to do it, maybe.
We'll do it during that other meeting, maybe. We'll talk.
When we're putting all the things together, right?
Because technically you're in a selectmen's meeting
Right.
during the hearing, because you're
Right.
all three here, so
Right,
we can always re-adjourn and go into non-public if it doesn't take too.
all right, yeah, let's see how long this,
I'm a man can dream, okay? Geez,
let's take a bathroom
everybody
break.
snickers every time I say it's gonna be a short meeting.
all righty, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Second,
So
Just
Steve, I'm gonna
adjourning the
need you
regular
here to
meeting?
dance slides.
yeah, I mean, are we technically adjourning or are we?
Well, you're just suspending the meeting until the start of the hearing.
All right, so we're not adjourning, thank you. Okay,
It's just a continuation.
all right, let's just